Hello everyone. I wanted to make an update video in regard to my internship search process. Guys, I did it. I received an offer from an insurance company and I will be working as a data and operations intern. My job will be to aggregate data into one document that provides monthly snapshots. In this video, I will describe the arduous process I went through, what I learned, and how I will be moving forward. In total, I sat through 6 interviews, 3 screening calls with 7 different organizations before I ultimately received an offer. This process took over 8 months to complete, basically. Here's what I did during that time. I talked to as many people that I could to help me in my journey. I reached out to employers, college staff, alumni, and friends for advice and guidance. This was not a lone journey, even though at times it felt like it was. I also changed my daily routine. Beginning in the spring semester, I woke up every day, including weekends, at 7 a.m. This helped me complete the necessary things I needed to accomplish to secure an internship offer. Lastly, I upgraded my mindset. I visualized success, which helped me notice progress. Self-belief and faith are strong ingredients. Guys, I will not lie. This was a pretty arduous process. I didn't really have much fun my spring semester of my junior year in college, including on the weekends. Every week was pretty much a straight grind of productivity and obligations. And I did this all because I wanted to achieve my dreams, my goals, and my ambitions. Every weekend, basically every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I went to sleep early just because sleep is such a crucial component in success. I began sleeping on the regular 7 to 8 hours every night. This helped me recharge, recover, and keep my mind sharp when opportunities arose. A trap that I fell into a lot during this process was having a victim mentality when things didn't work out the way I wanted them to. There was a lot of moments where I expressed feelings of entitlement, arrogance, and I thought I was just too good to subject myself to this internship search process. However, although this system of internships is not perfect, everybody has to go through it as well. And if you keep on if I kept on having this victim mentality that I needed someone to save me or someone to get me a job, I would have never I wouldn't have ever accomplished the things I did. And I really upgraded my mindset during this time. I began to visualize success and define success. And this really helped me notice things when I was starting to progress in my search. I started to see I was on the right path because in my mind, days, weeks, or months prior, I visualized it happening. And I see a lot of my peers, and including my friends, who fall into this victim mentality that the world's out to get them. Something, insert classic scapegoat, is ruining their life, and they're the reason why nothing's working out. And once you really stop thinking that way, you divert a lot of your energy away from it into actual meaningful steps towards progress. And I wanted to segue that into my next point about how valuable your attention is, especially at the age of 20, 21. Every day there's a corporation or person who wants your attention for some reason, right? And I really had to start focusing on the things that actually mattered. I think the biggest and most helpful piece of advice I got was to be the CEO of Chris. And what that looked like stop stop letting distractions appear in my face and wasting my time on them. And there's a lot of people out there who will try to make you feel bad for you not giving them your attention, which is a manipulative tactic, and you should treat it as such. The next thing I want to talk about is, obviously I went through this process over the course of 8 months, and through that time frame I needed to find some sort of work-life balance if I ever could. If I spent 8 days or 8 hours of the day sleeping, that only left me 16 hours of my day to do something. And if you only focus on securing an internship, you'll begin to falter in other parts of your life, like your health, your relationships. And you need to understand that I needed to understand that I needed to do things that would relieve my anxiety and stress. And one of those things for me was music. Every 2 weeks or so, I was part of this music workshop on Fridays. And there was a lot of days I was just extremely tired and did not want to go to this music workshop. But ultimately, I pushed through and committed to the things that I really cared about. And it really helped me enjoy life. Because I'm not going to lie, finding an internship, this process is not fun. It's horrible, right? Because you really need to unlearn a lot of bad habits, like instant gratification, and I needed to learn how to be patient, and that really did take time. And that's really going to be my last point. It's that good things do in fact take time. Patience is a virtue. You need to wait for good things to come to you. All in life, I'm starting to recognize, is putting yourself in the best position possible and hoping to get lucky, to get fortunate. Now that I have this internship, what are the next steps for me? So I'm beginning my internship fully next week. I had a meeting with my team this week, So I'll definitely just make the most out of it, make the most out of this internship this summer. And then I'm graduating this December in the year of 2026. I decided to graduate a semester early because it made a lot of sense for me. It made sense to save money. I'm not going to, I don't think there's a lot for me to do, or maybe there is a lot to do for me still at my school and my college. However, it would cost money, and a big reason why I decided to go to this current school I am going to is because of soccer. And my last senior season, my last and final season, which will be my senior season, will be this coming fall. So yeah, I basically will be done with college pretty soon. And I've been told the feeling is bittersweet. I feel like there is probably a lot of more there's probably more friendships and relationships I could cultivate in an extra semester. However, I just really think the benefits outweigh the negatives from that, stemming from that. So, and then eventually, after I graduate, the next step will be to get a job. I'm much more confident about finding one after I went through this internship process. I'm more confident in interviews, being crystal clear about my strengths and what I want. And I really have a lot of plans for the future. I've definitely been considering getting my CPA ever since Illinois changed the legislature surrounding it. In essence, what they really did was make the pieces of the CPA puzzle easier to get. And eventually I would like to go to graduate school. However, I want to work for a couple years, maybe 3 to 5, just to save money and clear my undergraduate debt. And I'd do a master's program in AI and how to utilize it in business. I believe that's something that will be extremely valuable as this technology progresses, and a lot of the advice patterns I recognize point to being a very valuable path to go down.